You want to introduce yourself?
Yeah. What's going on, guys? I'm John.
I'm David.
And welcome to Movie Kings. So first things first, before we get started, make sure that you hit the subscribe button below if you're watching us, or if you are wherever you're listening to, subscribe there. And our social medias, we're all around on the social media with JD. Let's see, I think JD Kings is our handle. So there you go.
We'll post edit this part.
Wait, no, actually, JD Movie Kings. That's it. This is our first show. Give us a break.
Yeah, JD Movie Kings, and follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and I'm sure other places.
I think that's it for right now.
Yeah. So we're talking about Solo, the movie today. This is our first movie we're going to be reviewing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit of a late review, but nonetheless, I think it's warranted. It's an interesting kind of movie because it has a really unique backstory because of the way it was made and all the problems and everything else, and also the ripple effect it kind of had on the whole Star Wars series.
And you had not seen it before, right?
And I had not seen it personally. No, I had not.
I had seen it. I was already disappointed by it, so I kind of knew what I was getting into. What did you expect?
Well, I'll tell you, it was not what I expected. You told me it was bad.
Well, I didn't say it was bad. I said it was boring.
Okay. So I wasn't sure what to expect, and going into it, I was expecting it not to be good. So I was trying to watch it with an open mind and not go into it thinking, okay, this is going to be bad because everybody said it was bad, and so I just wanted to watch it. I just think there was so much, I don't know right now. The way boring's a good word. Boring, lack of character development was a huge thing for me. I think they were trying to sell you on some deaths in that movie that I just didn't really think really were that big of a deal.
Yeah.
The robot chick dying to me was kind of like, I didn't care.
I hated that character.
That character was just it was like they just kind of threw her in there, and then she was an antagonist, and it didn't really work for me. I don't know. What do you think about her?
Wait, with the robot or the
robot girl overall as that character? I mean, she just kind of didn't seem like it fit.
She just seemed kind of annoying to me. Like there's really no reason for her to be there, especially if they're just going to kill her off. But really, I think the only reason that she was there was because in The Empire Strikes Back, if you remember, there's a scene where C-3PO hooks into the computer and he says something like your hard drive has the most peculiar dialect, and it's like. It just seemed like a big Easter egg. It was like, see, like that's why she's like that. That's why yeah.
Okay, so unless you're a diehard, like you live, breathe, and eat Star Wars for breakfast,
like me.
You would have known that. I don't. I love Star Wars, but I don't. I miss that. You know, I'm not gonna. I don't love Star Wars enough to know. Those sort of little knickknacks. I'd have to go back and watch the original movie first to have known that was even part of it. So
right.
I just felt like they were forcing her death to be something sad to you. I also didn't like that there was some weird relationship dynamic between her and Lando.
Yeah.
Because Lando, to me, was always kind of like, he in the original movie trilogy, he was kind of just like this swagger kind of guy. So I pictured him with some green alien girls, not a robot, So
you thought Lando could do better.
I feel like Lando could do better. I also thought Lando's acting was subpar at times.
Yeah.
I think some of his lines were kind of cheesy and just didn't really seem like Lando to me.
Yeah, well, to me, like all of the characters in the movie, it seems like they were kind of working with two different things, because I feel like if they had gone with the people that they started out with the Lego Movie guys, I think that they had kind of like a comedy, like kind of a comedic element like planned out. But then when they fired them and decided to go with something different, it was like, you're kind of playing with this and you're kind of playing with that, and it just didn't really...
So let's talk about that, because you told me about this, and I think that's really interesting about this movie. This is why I think Solo is still relevant and why we should talk about it, because of what happened. You told me that there was one set of directors, correct? And then it moved into something. So what would happen there?
So the Lego Movie directors, I think it's Phil Lord and Chris Miller, they were hired to make the movie. And I guess that Lawrence Kasdan and his son were, I guess they had written the screenplay for it. And so they started production on the movie, and they were getting the dailies in, and the Kasdans were watching it, and they were like, they're not filming our movie according to the screenplay. Like this, like it's too funny. And so then, like they kind of looked at it. And I think there was some on-set problems, like they weren't getting enough stuff done every day, and it was it just
This is what I want. What were you thinking? What you hired the guys that made Lego movies?
Yeah.
What did you think was going to happen? It wasn't going to
Exactly.
be serious.
Yeah.
If you want serious, you got to find someone who shoots serious movies.
they did. They found Ron Howard.
No, Ron Howard does documentaries. Like I feel like he does the Beatles documentary that
Yeah.
Ron Howard did was fantastic. But I can't think of a good Ron Howard movie in the last couple of years. Maybe you can shoot something off. But
Ron Howard movie. I mean, he's one of those guys that like he makes vanilla kind of movies. Like they're very plain. And
Well.
there you go. Yeah.
I want to say that was my biggest problem watching Solo today. The biggest takeaway for me was there was too much humor.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't. If you look at the original trilogy, and I think one of the reasons why the original trilogy to me was so good was it was somewhat serious, but they had slight bits of humor here and there.
Right.
But it was so balanced.
Yeah.
That it was still a very serious movie. That's why probably people got into it so much because it wasn't like a cheesy kind of quirky sci-fi.
Yeah, it wasn't campy.
Right. And then, you know, I think one of the biggest problems for the first three movies, I know we can go and get into that for hours.
Oh boy.
But I think that the biggest problem with that too is there was too much humor. You had characters like Jar Jar Binks and stuff like that. And it was real
Oh, you're
bright.
on the prequels.
The prequels is what
Okay.
I'm talking about. The first three, the prequel movies. Those they were real bright and colorful, lots of quirky, like really cheesy humor just throughout it. And I think it kind of took away from what Star Wars was. And I feel like that's what happened with Solo. I think there's just too much humor. I don't feel like I was watching Solo either because of all of his his dialogue. I'm like, I'm struggling to see Han here. I didn't see the arrogant, snide kind of.
Well, it's a prequel. He's not at that point yet.
I guess.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Like it seemed like they kind of messed up his character with that movie because like it is a prequel, but he's not like I don't know. Something was missing.
I don't feel like, you turn into that kind of person. There's things that you turn into as a person over time as you get older and you go through experiences in life. And I don't think that you just magically one day wake up and become some, snarky, cocky, arrogant guy who thinks the Force doesn't exist. I feel like you're kind of born a little bit that way.
Yeah.
And so for me, but that was the challenge. And this is what I thought Disney, this is the problem with movies like Solo and the first two new movies to the trilogy, episode 7 and 8, there's so much expectations. And the reason why I like Star Wars stories was because there was never supposed to be an expectation. Rogue One could be whatever we wanted it to be. It tied up some loose ends of episode 4, which were cool. But at the end of the day, you had a lot of freedom there to kind of make that story the way you wanted it. But with Solo, that brings back that expectation. We know who Han is. We know who Harrison Ford is, and we have this character in our head. And if it doesn't play out that way, it's going to be bad for us. And that's why I didn't like it.
What did you think about how his last name was created?
Sure. I almost watched it. I rolled my eyes at that scene. I thought, was that even necessary to do that?
Yeah, I didn't quite roll my eyes, but it was like, okay.
There's a lot of dialogue in that movie, and there's some scenes that I think that probably could have been cut and weren't really necessary, didn't add anything to the story. That was definitely one off the top of my head that I can think of. I don't know. That was weird to me.
I went in thinking because I'd already seen it, and it's been about a year since I've watched it, but I went in thinking like, okay, this is going to be very boring. I can kind of look at my phone for a little bit, whatever. And I still didn't like it, but like I enjoyed the first 30-45 minutes a little bit better than the first time I saw it. It wasn't bad.
There was a lot of good to take away from that movie, and I think some of the action scenes. I do love the scene where he's kind of like a low-level soldier in that battlefield, and you see the AT-STs just kind of running through and all the explosions. I love seeing the Empire's armies, especially now because technology is so great with movies, we can kind of make anything we want now. Whereas back in the 70s or whatever, when Star Wars was first made, everything had to be done with practical animation.
Uh-huh.
And so when you see this new CGI stuff, it's just that it's so fun to watch that. Because I
Yeah.
remember as a kid growing up with Star Wars, my favorite scenes were like the opening scene of Hoth,
Yeah.
and then the final kind of end scene in Return of the Jedi, where they're fighting in the woods because there's all the ATSTs and the big machines and the
Like
speeder bikes. That stuff to me was always cool.
Like the trench warfare.
Right.
Yeah.
Just the machines and stuff to me were always awesome. I almost didn't even care about the dialogue so much as I just like the explosions and all
explosions.
all the explosions and all the machines. And there was a lot of good action shots in Solo. So there's a lot of that. And then, but it gets kind of muddled together with really poor acting situations and then poor dialogue, lack of character development, in my opinion. Like they're trying to force you to feel feelings towards things, and I didn't feel it.
Yeah, I didn't think that the main guy, I can't think of what his name is, who played Solo. I didn't think he was a bad choice for the movie. I thought he did fine. It's just like he didn't have much to work with. But
Alden.
Alden Emmerich, is that his name?
IMBD, you're making me log in. So it's Alden. I think he looked the part of a young Solo.
Yeah.
I think his acting was okay. I think he had big shoes to fill.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: the Han Solo can really only be played by Harrison Ford. Excuse me.
You couldn't remember his name for a second.
If you ever heard something misfire, that was my brain just now. It was like, and then so Harrison Ford, because Harrison Ford that's who Harrison Ford was. I feel like in real life, I think he was that arrogant kind of cocky swagger kind of guy, and that's why he played that role so well. And in fact, if you kind of look now, if you look at Rogue or Episode 7, when he comes back, he's a much different person.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, we could all say, well, of course he's older, he's grown up probably, he needs to calm down. That's true, but that's because that's how he's in real life. But so he would be hard for him to come back and play that character from the first, the original trilogy, because he's just not that person anymore. He's older. We all calm down as we get older. We're not as arrogant usually. We kind of grow up a little bit. And that's a hard shoes to fill.
That's the same reason why I don't think that they should ever make another Indiana Jones movie without Harrison Ford. Well, they shouldn't make another one, period. But it's like you can't recast that. Like not now. Like you could have done it like 30 years ago. But
yeah,
like kind of done like a James Bond thing. But you definitely shouldn't do it now.
I don't think they should. I agree with that. In fact, we kind of all. I think they learned their lesson with the fourth one. We don't speak of that movie.
Well, they're making a fifth one.
I think
learn their lessons again.
There's a problem in Hollywood today, and they need to let things die. And I think we need to just accept the fact that the first 3 Indiana Jones movies were fantastic. Mm-hmm. They were just so well done. Mm-hmm. And we just admire that and just go and move on.
Yeah.
Stop trying to relive. There's no need for a Jumanji 3. There's no need for a Jumanji 2. The first one was great for what it was. Okay, we can argue on that. But it's done. Move on. Stop bringing crap back and then ruining it, because that's all you're doing. Like King Kong, let that one go.
Wait, which one?
Any of the newer ones, like the one with Jack Black, just let it go.
You mean the 3 hours of my life that I'll never get back?
Yeah, no kidding. I didn't like that movie. I was like, ugh. It's it's getting tough, I think, in Hollywood to be original, and so they're trying to do anything they can to bring. Just to continue cash cows, and that's when they just need to let go of Indiana Jones. Now, Star Wars, on the other hand, Star Wars can be so much because there's the Marvel Universe of Star Wars, which I think is what Disney should be focusing on, and I think they're dropping the ball on that. I think they are.
Well. I mean, they're working on the TV shows on it, so that's part of what they're doing.
Super excited about the Mandalorian.
Yes,
that is going to be. I saw the trailer and I am so excited. That looks like it's going to be good. Truly a good one. I think it's going to be dark, kind of just grungy. Because that's where he's going to be.
Yeah, I was thinking about Solo when we were watching it. About I feel like if that had been on the Disney Plus app, it wouldn't have been so disappointing. But since it was at the theaters, it's like I don't think I want to pay admission to see this. But if it's on an app, it's like this is pretty good.
Yeah, so that's a good recommendation if you haven't seen Solo yet. It's things like that is a good Netflix movie probably.
Yeah,
because you're not paying for it. You're
but it's free.
You are. You're paying for a lot of things with Netflix.
Yeah.
But and we're not being paid by Netflix, so don't think we're promoting it. But anyway,
We could.
we could be.
It's future promotion.
Netflix. Anyway, where I would agree with you. Like if I had watched that at the theaters, I'd probably be like, man, I spent like $20 to $30 here on a ticket, food, and then this is what I got to see.
Right.
I think Solo shouldn't have been a Star Wars story. I think it would have been better as its own TV series.
Yeah, I'd watch that.
Because you could have broken it up. You could have really got great character development, really honed in on where he came from, focused on that, and just built off of it. Versus what I feel is a very rushed film too. Like I feel like they were cramming a lot of different things down your throat in a short amount of time.
Yeah.
And it just felt like you're kind of like just flying through this story of Solo. You didn't really feel like you had a chance to really get to know any characters. You didn't really feel like you got a chance to really generate any kind of feelings towards the characters. And that's why I kind of keep going back to that. Like when the characters died, I was just kind of like, okay, moving on.
Yeah, because they kind of killed off the smuggler characters towards the very beginning, like really fast. Like they killed off the monkey guy pretty quick.
Yeah, and the monkey guy had some potential. He had some really funny one-liners. He had some character to him, and you could tell that they're like almost like we're building you up to like this guy.
Yeah.
So he's gonna die in the next 10 minutes if you didn't figure that out. I saw his death coming because I'm like, wow, they're really building this guy up fast. And it's the same thing with the robot chick.
Yeah, well, and with Woody Harrelson's wife, Danny Newton.
Yeah, there could have been a lot more. I could have seen them carried out through the whole rest of the show. I kind of also looked at it as let's introduce these characters so we have somebody to kill off because obviously we can't kill off Han Solo. We can't kill off his girlfriend because she's got a bigger story down the road with Darth Maul and everybody.
Yeah, which that kind of like I kind of thought about that with his girlfriend. Like, why even bother like giving Han Solo a girlfriend because you know that they're not going to end up together. It's like,
yeah, it's kind of tough.
Yeah.
The whole movie I was thinking this girl dies because I didn't really know the whole backstory of Darth Maul, what happens with him until I just read it. I did hear stories that he never died after episode 1, that he actually continued to live on and turned into like a Spider-Man kind of thing. And so I thought that was cool because I liked Darth Maul. I thought Darth Maul was probably the best thing about episode 1. So yeah, I agree. You're bringing this character and I'm thinking, okay, when does she die?
yeah,
When is she going to get blasted and Han Solo's going to cry and he's going to fall into pieces and that's why he's a lonely drifter with Chewbacca.
right.
But I mean, it was an interesting kind of twist to see her, plug into Darth Maul. I thought that was kind of cool.
How did you feel when he showed up?
Darth Maul?
Yeah, Darth Maul.
Bittersweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm like, ooh, Darth Maul, like he's bad. But then I'm like, this movie was so bad, and it tanked so bad that Disney was like, we're not doing any more Star Wars stories as of right now.
Yeah.
So
That's what they were going for, though.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, this was a setup, and it would have been so good if they didn't screw it up, man.
I heard that when they did that, they were going basically they gave them they knew that there was going to be a reveal of that character, but they gave the filmmakers a choice of who they were going to reveal. So it was like it could be Darth Maul, it could be this person, it could be that person. And it's like, why would you choose Darth Maul? Like, why does it?
I think they were playing on the heartstrings of fans because they know a lot of people really like Darth Maul as a character. I think that was kind of like a, hey, you guys want to see more of this guy? Because y'all liked him. I mean, there's a whole comic series about him on,
It's just such an odd choice.
It is random.
Just imagine if it had been like Jar Jar Binks, just showing up at the very end.
Yeah, Misa back, Misa back. Oh no, I would love to see him walk in. Go Misa back, and then Han just shooting him like I don't know who you are, but boom! That would have been the best edited bonus scene.
And then he would pull out his lightsaber and
fight.
Yeah,
because there's a rumor that he's a Sith Lord.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that would be just ridiculous. I wondered if they were setting up Maul, and if Disney was thinking, okay, we are going to tap into the comic book series and the kind of like the side stories of Star Wars, the real deep stuff that you'll never see. It's just kind of like in the Star Wars Wikipedia.
Right.
And I wonder if they were going to...
Wikipedia?
Yeah. And...
that's really it.
I know. I'm sorry. It's funny. So it's like, I wonder if they were thinking, okay, well, we're going to tie into this and create a whole bunch of movies based on that. And I would have been fine with that, you know. As long as they could kind of find the right people to direct it and produce it.
Yeah.
I think that would have been probably right. I will stand by this, and I'm sorry, you're going to disagree with me, but I really believe that Disney in general, is dropping the ball on Star Wars.
Well, I think it's fine. I mean you're never gonna be as good as the original three. That's just it. So
Well, I think you can be as good or better than the original three. I think Rogue One, to me, Rogue One still stands as the best Star Wars movie as of now, the best newly released Star Wars
yeah,
since
yeah,
Disney's taken over. Rogue
right,
One to me seems the best,
yeah.
and I, God, I'm so disappointed with what happened with Solo, the way it was, how it was produced, how it was direct, how it was came to fruition, and then to see the final product, I'm just like, man, you guys really had a good idea going here, and you screwed it up. How did you do that, Disney? Disney, how do you screw that? You are Disney. You don't. Well, hold on. Let me pump the brakes. They're doing this real live action movies now. So Disney, somebody at Disney needs to go away.
Who needs to go away?
I don't know, but somebody's making really bad decisions. They're like, hey, let's take all of our childhood favorite cartoons and make them into live action, which, by the way, live action means real people. Okay? So Lion King is not technically live action.
It's not?
It's CGI.
Really?
It's just stupid.
What if they did bring in like a bunch of like real lions and just like threw them out there? Like, move, more.
I thought about this. I thought, what if they really did a real, true live action Lion King where they just put cameras out in Africa? And it was just literally 2 hours of lions sitting around licking themselves, occasionally hunting,
And helping,
reproducing, climbing a tree, maybe dubbed in some voices.
yeah, I was about to say like what if they did like the Air Buddies movies where they like CGI'd some like mouths on the lions?
It'd be like Homeward Bound
Yeah, yeah.
meets The Lion King. I could see that.
Hey, don't make fun of Homeward Bound.
The first one was good.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, everybody likes the first one. After that, it was just downhill.
There was something that you made me think of. Oh yeah, a friend of mine when they announced that they were making a live action Lion King, he said what they should have done was just filmed the like the Broadway stage production with the like the people in the crazy costumes and made like a movie version of that. Like I would watch that.
That would have probably been the appropriate thing to do.
People jumping around with crazy outfits on.
And I went to that show when I was a kid, and I fell asleep halfway.
Did
through.
you really?
Yeah, I was in the 8th grade. It was part of our trip for school. They took us to the Lion King show, and it was cool, but it was too long, especially for an 8th grade kid who's like, it was already late, and I was just like, so I'm like, I'm done with this. I'm just waiting for it to end. But it was good. That would have made more sense. You're right. You're absolutely right. I'm going to touch on this now. Social justice warrior, SJW stuff, all this, we got to kind of throw in, I think, the Last Jedi really did this with the whole, like, the race animals, and we got to free them and all the feel-good stuff. I felt like that female robot kind of was that version of this in Solo. It was like, I want equal rights. It's like, come on, Star, come on. It's not funny. It's not funny, and it's not good. And then I thought about it more, and I thought, okay, they needed to do something on this planet. They needed to... They're like, we got to make this scene work. So let's throw... Like they've got to be able to get in there and get this stuff. And there's only... Like, let's find a way to make everybody rebel or cause a riot, which would allow Solo to kind of sneak in there pretty much undetected. One guard guarding this vault of stuff that's supposed to be so precious. That was very easy for them to get in, which I thought was kind of strange.
Yeah.
But I felt like they had to kind of figure out a way to do it, and that was like they're kind of like rushed. Let's just make this robot, a feminist robot, and she'll just kind of figure out how to, she'll want a revolution, and she'll free all the robots, and the robots will just start causing calamity because they're robots and they're stupid, so they're going to walk on the machines, and it's going to free all the slaves, and then that's how they get the stuff.
Yeah, that's like past the point of the movie where I was caring.
At this point, I was like, now they're just adding crap to make this a movie. Like, they were like, well, we have this story of Solo, and we've got point A and we've got point B, but we have nothing in the middle. So let's just fill it with what we can.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what it felt like. Mm-hmm. And so, if you like action and you like, if you're not like a huge diehard Star Wars fan, you'll probably like this movie.
Yeah, that's what I feel like. If you're not like if you're coming in pretty fresh, I feel like it'd be fine with it.
It's definitely something that'll work with kids because it's still kid friendly, even though there is shooting and death and blah blah blah. But it's not like this isn't Saving Private Ryan death. This is Star Wars.
I would love an R-rated cut of Solo though. That would be pretty great.
I would like an R-rated Star Wars. I don't know if anybody. I'm kind of hoping the Mandalorian is going to be kind of R-rated Star Wars.
That would be cool, yeah.
Because I'm like, yeah, I'm down with that.
Yeah, because I know I know for a while they were going to make a Boba Fett movie with James Mangold, who made Logan, and that was extremely violent R-rated movie. So I would have loved to see that, like, that same kind of thing.
That's what Boba Fett needs to be, though, in my opinion, because he's going to, like, the depths of Tatooine. You know, he's dealing with Jabba the Hutt. These are dark people. You know, this isn't a feel good movie, right? This is grungy. This would be kind of like it needs to have that effect.
Yeah.
It needs to kind of be like a Dark Knight kind of movie, in my opinion, where it's real just dark and twisted. And just you end up probably loving the villains more than you really care about the main character.
Right.
That's what I want.
Which we definitely have to see Joker in a few weeks.
Super excited about this Joker. This Joker, I hear Joaquin Phoenix plays the Joker. Very excited. He's got some big shoes to fill. Heath Ledger kind of set the precedence for, in my opinion, the best Joker. I know we're going to argue Jack Nicholson was the best Joker.
Mark Hamill. That's a good Joker.
Mark Hamill plays a great Joker but I think Heath Ledger, in my opinion, is the best Joker.
Right.
And he's got to follow that. Because even though there's people out there going to go, oh, Mark Hamill was great. And there's those originalists who are going, oh, man, Jack Nicholson, he was the best.
Cesar Romero was the best Joker. The Batman series.
I'm gonna walk away from that one. That's a big no for me. I'm not a big fan of the old Batman show.
What?
I'm sorry, I'm just not.
What?
It's weird to me.
No, it's so good.
It's so bad.
Well, it is. It's campy. That's the point.
I know. I can't watch stuff like I can watch a couple episodes, but I'm not the kind of person that's like I'm gonna binge this or something. I just can't do it.
Well, yeah, that's the point. Just watch a couple. But that's. It's so weird to me that show its campiness is so good, and then like they tried the same kind of campiness in the '90s with the Joel Schumacher Batmans, and it just doesn't work at all.
Yeah, it doesn't. I just for me I'm kind of like a person who likes if you take something that's science fiction and kind of make it more realistic, and I think that's why I really like The Last Joker the most. It's kind of like if you really had a real person in real life who's actually a Joker, because let's face it, Batman villains are kind of outrageous.
Yeah. Flamboyant.
Very flamboyant. I mean, a guy's a penguin.
Yeah.
So if you can make that real, how do you do it? And I think Heath did a good job. It's gonna be hard, but I like the idea that this Joker is more true to the actual comic book. So this is more like how he really came to be. So this is gonna be really good. I'm really excited to see it.
Looks good.
And I think we are definitely going to be doing a review of that for sure. So look for that in the coming weeks. When does that movie air?
October 4th, I think, is when it comes out.
Good deal.
It's a few weeks from now.
So that'll be a good one for October for everybody to look forward to seeing for sure.
So keep watching and listening, guys.
I agree. You should. I mean, especially if you're doing a podcast, play this on your way to work.
Yeah.
It's entertaining.
It's fun.
If you're thinking about seeing a movie, we're the people you want to come talk to.
Yeah.
Because we're not going to steer you wrong.
We're the movie kings. It's in our title.
John has the plethora of movie knowledge, and he knows a lot. And I'm just really opinionated. So it works out really well.
Exactly.
I don't know where we're at as far as everything.
We're about 30 minutes, so we can keep going as long or as short as you want to.
Do you have more to talk about with Solo?
Solo, let me think. The one thing that I thought really worked in that movie is when Han Solo first meets Chewbacca and he starts like talking Wookiee. That really did make me laugh the first time I saw it.
That made me chuckle a bit, and I did like that a little bit that he did speak Wookiee.
Yeah.
At first I'm like, oh, I don't know, but then I was like, yeah, okay, I can get this, and I do like that scene. Seeing Chewbacca kind of, trapped down there, and that's how they come to be.
And then share a shower together.
Ooh. I would not want to share a shower with a Wookiee.
No?
No, and I would feel like I'd hate to be the guy that has to come behind Chewbacca and clean that shower.
Could you imagine having to blow dry a Wookiee? Because, that's a lot of hair.
I would probably turn that question to, like, a woman such as my wife who has long hair, and she tells me that it's a pain to have that long hair. So I can only imagine having a full body of hair.
What would a Wookiee look like shaved, I wonder?
Like a cat.
Oh,
like a shaved cat. I think that's what you would look at. You'd say, you ever seen Mr. Bigglesworth from the Austin Powers? I feel like that's what they would look like. Very not intimidating.
But like a really big version.
Like a big version of Bigglesworth.
It'd probably be like the Wookiee equivalent of like seeing like an albino like person.
Can we talk about what this? That reminds me of something. Talking about his fur. Can we talk about the fact that Chewbacca never ages?
Yeah, that is true, and I kind of felt the same way about like when you see him in the Force Awakens, like when he first showed up, it was like, especially then, it's been 30 more years.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. So when they drop his age in Solo, he's 190 years old, which is why he knew how to work the Falcon.
Right.
And so you would think that by the time Force Awakens comes, he'd be great. And you could say, well, Wookiees don't great, but that's not true, because if you look at Episode 3, when they're on the Wookiee planet,
Right.
the elder Wookiees are all gray.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
No, I'm not buying it.
Maybe it's just like a dog,
oversight.
Some are grown with like some have spots when they're born, some don't have spots.
I don't know, man. My dog Boomer grayed pretty quick, and he was only like 5.
Yeah.
Gray all over his muzzle, so
No.
I don't buy it. I don't buy it for a minute.
Well, I don't know.
I think it's an oversight on Disney. Just one more problem. I love Disney because they're like this powerhouse, and they can create, they have the ability to make and produce great movies and do some really awesome stuff. Pixar is amazing. And then it just seems like to me that they have this golden goose of Star Wars. And I feel like they're almost too nervous to keep dropping the ball on it. And I think that's what Solo kind of is. It's like they're just trying to please everybody, and they're trying to get this right, that they're missing the stuff that's right in front of their face.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we disagree a little bit with the newer ones, but I think for the most part they've done a pretty good job with them. But they, I was thinking the other day they were pretty smart to buy them when they did, because like now everybody's trying to make these shared universes, and like they keep trying to rush them, and they're never any good. But like I feel like the Star Wars one, they've actually kind of like done them some justice, because they bought them early enough. And now they have the rights to those, so they can just do whatever they want to with them. There's nothing really expected.
It's true, and they could have flooded the market with Star Wars stuff,
which they have.
Well, they have, but not with the movies per se.
Yeah,
they were releasing 2 a year at one point. Now they're down to just the 1.
Well, they've only done 1 a year so far.
Oh, that's right. They would do 1 trilogy a year, and then the following year would be like a Star Wars story.
Yeah.
And I was okay with that.
Yeah.
In fact, I actually was looking forward to that. That kind of stopped though.
Yeah, Solo kind of made them like put the skids on a little bit, because I think Episode 9 was supposed to open in like May, and then they were like, let's make sure we get this right, and let's kind of pause these other Star Wars stories, because I think also there's going to be a Yoda and like I said, the Boba Fett movie was going to come out too, but
hopefully they haven't gone the way. I would love a Yoda movie.
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
It was fun to see Yoda. A glimpse of what Yoda was in his prime in Episode 3. I do think that battle with him and the Sith was kind of not done well. But
yeah.
I think the Sith should have been a little more powerful. The way he fought, it was like he fought like an old man. So,
do you think that the Yoda movie would be better like if it was young Yoda, or do you think it would be better like if it was Yoda like being senile in Dagobah, just like hanging out, like making cookies?
the life of Yoda.
Yeah. It'd be like Yoda at the retirement home.
It would literally be like Castaway with Tom Hanks, but with Yoda. Yeah.
Who would be his Wilson?
Probably one of those snakes you saw.
Yeah.
Come over here. Come over here, little snaky. And he would hit it with his cane and go, "Roar."
Yeah.
I would pay to see this.
I would love to see that.
That's a great idea. Disney, if you're going to see this down the road, make the Yoda movie like Castaway. It's just Yoda. There's no lightsabers. There's nothing. It's just him on Dagobah, hanging out, losing his mind.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
He's going crazier one day at a time.
In fact, make it a miniseries. Just do, like, what, 10 episodes?
Yeah.
10 episodes.
Or, it could be, since Yoda makes an appearance in The Last Jedi, it could be, like, both Yoda and Force Luke just, like, hanging out together for, 10 episodes.
That's how it could end.
Yeah.
It could just be those two, like, hanging out in the Force world. Maybe we could have, bring in the Force world so we can see what that looks like.
I'd love to see the Force
world. What
world.
are all these Jedis doing floating around up there when they're not talking to the people here on the planet?
Just chilling, man.
I guess there's got to be a party or something going on, right? A little lightsaber party.
Uh-huh.
I think that I would pay to see that. I would. And have you seen the trailers to Episode 9?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
You've seen both?
Yes. Have you watched them?
I have. Do you What are your impressions? I'm a little excited about this one.
I'm interested to know how they're gonna fit in Palpatine into the whole thing. That's interesting. I don't know why, but I'm curious to know where they're gonna go with it. Because the great thing about these trailers is that they really don't tell you anything.
They don't.
But yeah, I'm curious about that. The also Rey with the like Swiss Army lightsaber is kind of interesting, but I don't know what they're gonna do.
It's a Swiss Army lightsaber, but it's a red lightsaber.
Yes.
And she looks pissed. Mm-hmm. So something happens to Rey.
Yeah, but like in the last one, in the Last Jedi, when they they put out in the trailer, they made it look like she was going to turn to the dark side, and then it was like nothing happened. So
yeah, this is true.
Yeah, it's just who knows.
I personally would love to see Kylo Ren kind of come back to the good side and see her flip. I would like her more as a villain.
Really?
Yeah, I think women do better as villains than men.
Yeah.
Most of the time, there's not a lot of female villains in the movie world in comparison to male villains. But when there is a female villain, they tend to be better than men.
Like Kate Blanchett in The Crystal Skull.
Well, let's not talk about. I'm not saying it's an absolute. Okay, it's not an absolute fact. There are some flops, but there are good ones. The Last of the Crusades.
Yeah.
She was perfect. Mm-hmm. I think the reason why I think women play really good villain roles is because women have this like natural power that they possess that men don't. They have the ability to manipulate men so well that we don't even notice it, and so it transfers so well into a movie because especially if the villain's pretty, because pretty girls get whatever they want. They can do whatever they want. It's just real life. I'm sorry, it is, and so I think that's why women do better, do such a good villain, because it's like a woman in real life to me. It's like, yeah, they can manipulate men, they can end wars, start wars. Troy comes to mind, that the movie. That's a perfect example of a power woman. She literally brought that whole city down. Helen of Troy, just because of her beauty and her getting the whole thing is because of her.
I don't remember much about that movie. I remember sleeping through that movie.
That was a good movie. How did you sleep through that?
It's
Brad Pitt.
It's a really long movie.
Yeah, you're right. You probably could have cut it down, but a lot of that story is a long story, so they're trying to condense it into a movie. So I know what you're saying.
I remember there being good parts about it, but it was a very long movie.
I would love to see. I hope Rey flips.
Yeah.
I hope Rey flips, and I hope Kylo Ren comes to the light side. And I just mainly because I like Kylo Ren, and I like the actor. He's a Marine, I'm a Marine, so I'm kind of rooting for him.
Right.
Even when he's a bad guy, I'm like, I hope he just wins. I hope he just takes it. He took out Snoke, good enough. Just kill Ren. Let's kill Rey. Let's just keep moving along.
What we should do before that movie comes out, we should make our predictions. Do an episode about our predictions of what's going to be in the movie, and then we can do a second episode afterwards and see what's true.
I like that idea. Mm-hmm. Let's do that, and we'll post that up on just like a regular podcast.
Yeah,
we'll do that, and then I would like to see if the people that watch and listen, I would love to hear their predictions too. Maybe they have different ones than us. Then we can kind of revisit it. It'd be kind of fun to print them off and just go through some of the fan predictions,
right, and
see what people have to say about it. So when is that coming out? That's December, right?
December something. Yeah,
December something.
So
by then we'll have probably 1 million followers.
Of course.
So you better start getting your predictions in now if you want us to tell you, because by then who knows what it's going to be like.
Yeah.
This behind here will be different. We'll have our own studio in downtown Atlanta. Mm-hmm. We'll be sponsored by Bugatti. Mm-hmm. And we'll just sit here and count our money in our radio show, and that's how we'll have our podcast.
Exactly, yeah.
So
be prepared for that, guys.
I'm excited about that. All in all, I would say that Solo's a good family film. Don't think I'll watch it again. I don't know. I may check it out again.
Yeah, just to put in the background.
Because sometimes I like to watch movies twice. I didn't like The Last Jedi when I first watched it. Mm-hmm. Well, let me rephrase it. I was kind of on the fence about it, and then I went home and thought about it, and I was like, I really don't like that movie.
And then you watched it again.
And then I watched it again, and I was like, okay, there's a lot of good that kind of outshadows the bad. So all in all, was it the best Star Wars movie? No, but all in all, I don't think it was the worst. Mm-hmm. Solo, on the other hand, I just was like, man, they really dropped the ball on that one.
Yeah.
I don't think it tells. I like the guy that played Solo. Didn't see Solo very much, aside from the fact that he looked like him, but his mannerisms, the way he was talking, his lines, everything, I was just kind of like, it's hard for me to see Solo. I'm seeing more of that pilot the cool pilot guy from the last
Oh, Poe
episode,
Dameron.
Poe Dameron.
Uh-huh.
That's who I felt like I was seeing,
I can see that.
not Han Solo. And that's the problem, is they missed Harrison Ford's character there.
Well, I mean, you can't be Harrison Ford. That's
You
it.
can't. That's why it's so hard to make those movies.
Right.
Star Wars stories should probably be based on characters that we don't really like. Even Boba Fett. Boba Fett was he was a B-list character.
But everybody loves him. He's
everybody,
a cult character.
Right. It's so bizarre, but he had maybe one line, right?
Yeah.
And there was not a whole lot to know about him. And yet everybody fell in love with him. But the beautiful thing about it is that character you can kind of you can shape his story.
Yeah.
And there won't be a lot of expectation, I don't think.
Yeah.
But you can't do Leia. You can't do Solo. And you definitely can't do Luke. Just stay away from him.
Well, Luke's backstory's already been done.
Yeah, Luke's been done. That's true.
That would be the most boring movie ever if you had like Luke's backstory
Childhood
put on
Luke
film.
on
Yeah,
Tatooine.
like he's just on Tatooine, just farming for 2 hours,
drinking his tea from his Tupperware.
Yeah,
complaining and whining like Skywalker always does. I'm sorry, I didn't. Luke wasn't even my favorite character. Solo was one of my.
Han Solo's the best character. Yeah,
Solo was my favorite character in the original 3 movies. And that's probably another reason why I'm not a huge fan of this, because I had huge expectations going into that movie. And why I didn't watch it until just now.
Yeah.
Because I was just kind of like, no, I'm not going to let it ruin my idea of who Han is and where he's come from.
Right.
So, I just,
Disney, you're ruining my childhood.
Disney. They're like, we don't care. We're going to make our money.
No, it's, we don't care. We're going to make our money.
You damn Star Wars fans.
We're still going to go see our movies.
When we will.
Exactly.
What was that movie you and I were speaking about? We were texting each other the other day and you were saying boycott it. You refused to see it because and I said, look, you can boycott it, but it doesn't stop the fact that they're going to make it. It doesn't stop the fact.
It was when they were talking about making an Anakin TV show starring Hayden Christensen.
And I said, unless an acting rock hit that kid, he does no business being in there.
Well, and I was talking about this earlier today, is those movies, it was none of the actors' faults. It was entirely the writing's fault, because I've seen all those people in other movies and they're fine. Like he's even like he's been in stuff, he's fine. It's just like he had nothing to work with. Nobody had anything to work with in those movies. Just oof, not good.
I know, and I watched there's a YouTube channel, and I'll look into it and I'll see if I can find it again. But there was a guy that he kind of goes in. I don't know if he's got a background in writing for movies, but he has a channel and he kind of touches on what he thinks should have been written or how the movies should have been written. He did Star Wars. He did he did the 3 prequels, and I just loved what he had. And it kind of brought in a character that wasn't in the show at all, the movies at all, which was the Luke's uncle on Tatooine. Because it introduced his uncle as a character that kind of interacted with Anakin and Obi-Wan and some other people, and it kind of gave you a reason as why he was dropped off with him and just randomly.
Oh, really?
And I like I said, this was a long time ago when I watched it, so for me to remember everything, but I just do remember that key part because it kind of introduced characters that kind of like you always wonder, like, why Tatooine? Why his uncle? Why did he get thrown there? And so why not just throw him on Dagobah with Yoda?
Yeah, give him to Yoda.
The raised boy, I will not.
Yoda is forever bachelor.
You're a bachelor. People I hate. So I'll see if I can find it and we'll watch it.
Okay.
I agree with you. It's not the actor's fault. George Lucas just lost his mind.
Lost his damn mind.
You lost your damn mind. And I'm like, and then to hear what he would have done. There was an article that came out a few years ago. What he would have done with 7, 8, 9.
Yeah. Oh,
about
gosh.
like the Force being like little like alien people or something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, thank God that Disney just was like, no, we're good.
Well, that's one of those things where, and it was the problem with the prequels, is that this is my theory, is that with the original movies, George Lucas had people to tell him like, no, like change this doesn't work, like get someone to write some dialogue for you that works. And with the prequels, everyone was a yes man. Like there was nobody telling him no.
Yeah, because he was a king, right?
Yeah, that's why they were so bad. But yeah.
Now, it's an interesting factoid that someone brought up that George Lucas was actually revolutionary with the prequels because he did something that nobody else was doing with CGI.
Yeah.
Those worlds he created that were like endless, that everybody was like, these buildings they were in just seemed like they went on forever, and all this CGI, that was not being done then.
Right.
That was something that was very new. So some people do say that he did pave the way for maybe people like Michael Bay, which in a way could be considered a bad thing because I mean.
But at the same time, I think one of the things that people don't realize about the prequels is that a lot of it still was practical effects. There was CGI in it, but a lot of it was like they were still doing practical. Like I remember seeing something about the Naboo temple. Like one of the things, like you see like a waterfall from a distance, like flowing beside it, and like the water is actually like salt that they're pouring down the side of this little model. So it's they're still model making back then.
I love Star Wars Episode 7 because of all the practical effects that they put in it. I didn't. There was a little bit of that in Solo.
Yeah.
But not a lot. A lot of CGI in Solo doesn't bother me. But I come. Kids today, like the millennial kids and younger kids, probably don't have a soft spot for that like we do.
Yeah.
But I grew up with The Labyrinth. I grew up with Jim Henson.
Right.
And so for me, that practical animation is always so much better than anything you could do on the computer.
Well, and like the thing is too, like both the practical and the CGI, both of it looks fake. Like most of the time, it's just preferring one over the other. And I think for the most part, practical just it looks better. It's never going to look real either way, but.
The thing I liked about 7 is they kind of they do practical and then they would polish it with CGI, and I think that's, to me, like if anybody ever hears this podcast from Hollywood and it was like, that's what should be done. Do practical with polishing, and I think that would make it better. A guy that did I was watching a documentary a while ago on old horror movies. Horror movies from like the 80s and the 70s, where obviously a lot of practical effects were used, like the monsters were people in basically masks and stuff like that. And the guy he said there's a sort of, it's fake, but because he's like there's a sort of fear from practical effects in horror versus CGI, because with practical effects in your mind that's actually something you can touch, it's real,
right,
versus something that's computerized, because your brain can say that's fake because it's from a computer. But when it's practical, and while he was talking, it shows like this guy's eye get really big and then it goes and explodes, and it's all puppetry. Like they basically built this mold of this dude's head and his eye gets really big, and he's like, there's just something about the fact that was really happening,
right, that
adds a sense of like a little more depth to the fear of the movie. And I had to agree with him, and I think it goes beyond fear. I think that's just period, like just the whole, there's some warm and fuzzy I get when I see something that's like a puppet, like that's real versus fake.
Right, yeah.
So that's just how I feel about it.
Yeah, and I heard one time, of all people, Gilbert Gottfried say that like he was talking about he was comparing claymation to computer generated, and he was saying that claymation looks fake but feels real, and CGI looks real but feels fake, and that makes sense to me. Like it describes it perfectly.
It really does, and that's I think part of you say he did, but I think towards the second and third, I don't think he was using a whole lot of practical, was he?
Who's that?
George Lucas.
Yeah. I don't know, because I think technology had advanced to a certain degree, but at the same time, they were nowhere near what they were doing now. Like they still needed sets and they still needed certain things. Like nowadays they just put them on a green screen. They put the backgrounds in later. So
yeah, well, that was the set of like Phantom Menace. You see pictures, and it's like a big warehouse full of blue.
Right, but like at the same time, like they had to go to the desert to shoot all that stuff. Whereas
True.
like now that you can just go into a room like that and.
But with 7 and 8, they still traveled to. Where was it that they went? Was it New Zealand or something? Where did they go to do the Jedi Island that he was at?
I think in Ireland maybe.
Yeah. So they're still traveling. So that's good.
Right.
And I like that. Again, they're kind of Disney's like, look, we're going to go back and we're going to go find the roots, and I respect that they're doing that.
Right.
Let's just hope that they get their crap together as far as making these movies and not letting another Solo happen. Solo could have been something really, really amazing, but unfortunately, because of what happened, I think with the directors, and I think it just screwed everything up.
Yeah, and I like I said, I feel like if it was a TV show, I think it would have been much better.
I don't think Ron Howard was a bad choice, but if you should have picked him from the get go, like you had said, and it would have been better. Less humor. I'm tired of all the funny stuff in Disney or in Star Wars.
See, I think more humor.
Really?
Yeah, because well, see, there's humor in the movie, but it doesn't work. I feel like if they had stuck with those guys, like in the beginning, they could have made it work. Like there would have been quips and it would have been funny. But like this, it's like they tried to do it and it just didn't play off.
Well, we'll never know, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I like humor when it's balanced. I'm like, everything needs to be balanced.
Yeah, I feel like they've figured that out in the Marvel movies, and like if they could have done that with this, like it could have worked well. But
I mean, that's a whole other story.
Yeah,
we could talk about too with Marvel versus DC and why Marvel did better than them.
It's a whole other show.
Well, that's a rabbit hole we're not going to go down today. But yeah, I'm glad you brought that up.
Right.
So, all in all, just it was okay.
Yeah, it was a meh.
Yeah. That could have been so much better. It could have been so much more, and that's disappointing.
Yeah.
That's how it was for me.
Well, like, what grade would you give it if you had to give it a grade?
Well, I'll go 5. I'll go off the star rating, so 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. I'll give it 2.5 stars.
2.5. Yeah, that's about right.
Because there were things that were well done. I think Lando's character was not done well. I think he was underutilized.
Yeah, I thought the casting was good, but there was just nothing really for him to do.
It was casted well, but there was just there was something missing from it all. I couldn't get engaged. I know we kind of keep going into other things, but I'll bring up something like Daredevil.
Uh-huh.
When I watch the Daredevil show on Netflix, I can really become engaged with those characters where I start to really fall in love with those characters.
Right.
Now, granted, that might be because it's a TV show. Mm-hmm. But that happens with movies, too.
Yeah.
I mean, it does all the time. Like with the Marvel movies and all that stuff, like Captain America and all those movies, I'm like, man, this is great. Captain America's awesome.
Right.
But with this one, I just never felt like I could really, there's something missing there.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, mundane.
Yeah.
Like, it's like walking down the street and just meeting some random guy and going, hi, and then just keep going instead of stopping and having a conversation.
Right, yeah.
So that's how I felt about it. 2.5 stars.
I'd go C+.
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 You're going A grading. You're going with the Scholastic grading system.
Indeed, I am. Yeah.
C+.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. C+ is good. 2.5. Yep.
Yeah.
If we're Robert and Ebert,
Siskel and Ebert.
Siskel and Ebert, what do they do? Like 2 thumbs down.
Thumbs up and thumbs down. So yeah, 2 thumbs down, I suppose.
2 thumbs down. Mm-hmm. Those guys would have probably not even watched the movie, to be honest with you.
Oh no, they would have been paid to watch the movie, and they would have argued happily.
This movie was terrible.
I didn't like it, Gene.
Really? You don't say.
That's how he sounded.
Oh, that's funny. I like that. Well,
is that it?
I think that's it because I have literally stretched out how much I can say about Solo without just continuing to sound like a whiner.
Yeah, I mean, we talked for 56 minutes, so
that's good.
Good job.
Yeah, man.
High five, yeah.
It was a good first one.
Yeah, it was very good. So
our next one will probably be something more current.
Yeah, yeah.
Unfortunately, it is September, and there's a lot of B-list crap out there.
Yes.
So we're trying to... We want to go see movies, but we want to talk about movies that other people are going to want to listen about and really are interested in. And right now, I think this is the time of the year where it's tough.
Yeah, we want to watch something that's either really good or really bad. And right now, there's a lot of meh in theater.
A lot of mundane, just kind of whatever. And so probably some things we're talking. Definitely the new Ben Affleck.
The new Ben Affleck movie, yeah.
No, not Ben Affleck. Brad Pitt.
Brad Pitt, yeah.
Ad Astra.
Ad Astra, yeah.
It's a weird name for a movie.
Yeah.
But I'm excited about that. We're going to go see that one. So we'll probably be talking about that soon. And Joker's coming up, which is really exciting. There's a couple others maybe down the pipeline. But then by the time those are done, we'll be moving into
the
Star
holiday
Wars.
season. Yeah.
Holiday season Star Wars.
Yeah. Exactly.
Good deal. Well, thank you, everybody.
Yeah. So just make sure that you subscribe if you're watching, and if you're listening to us on iTunes or whatever we end up being on, subscribe there. Follow us on the social media platforms at JD Movie Kings, and we'll see you guys next time.
Yeah, and if you have your opinions of Solo, I'd like to hear them. So shout at us on Instagram and on social media and let us know what you thought.
Yeah, or comment below on YouTube.
Absolutely, below.
Yep, right there.
Alrighty.
So we'll see you guys next time.
Sign on.
Bye.